So as I mentioned, this past week I attended the CCAR conference, the annual meeting of Reform rabbis. And this year's conference was in the Bay Area and brought together about 400 rabbis. The conference began with a talk titled, How We Future, given by Lisa K. Solomon, a professor at Stanford's design school. I was skeptical of her talk from the moment I read the title. And honestly, I was also a little anxious about it. With so much uncertainty, volatility, and unpredictability in the world right now, can someone really tell me how to feel about the future and what it will look like? And was I going to leave her talk feeling pressured to make drastic changes to my work? After all, I'm a rabbi who holds really tight to carefully written curriculum and lesson plans and detailed calendars. But much to my surprise, I left the opening keynote feeling more grounded than I expected. On top of that, key phrases from Solomon's talk echoed throughout the rest of the conference, helping us to weave our learning together. Tonight, I want to share some of the ideas that have stuck with me, ideas that might help all of us navigate the messiness of our current reality as we look to the future. One principle that Solomon taught was that we should have strong ideas loosely held and strong values strongly held. Strong ideas loosely held, strong values strongly held. What does this look like? Let's start with the first half. Strong ideas loosely held. In this time of increasing polarity, when society is increasingly drawing lines of division, people are holding on tight to their ideas. We are doubling down on our opinions, leaving little room for others. Solomon suggests that we should have strong ideas. We should believe in what we're saying and be able to back it up with reasoning and evidence. But those ideas, she says, should be loosely held. We should be open to the possibility that other ideas have merit, that other ideas will come along and move out these current ideas. We should be willing to see that another path besides our own is not only viable, but maybe even preferable. And while our ideas can be loosely held, Solomon suggests that our values should be strongly held, because values form the core of who we are. Values allow us to evaluate ideas and to choose a course of action. But they are not actions in and of themselves. Multiple solutions may align with our values, but we will only realize that if we go in holding tight to our values, but not to the solutions or ideas. We can't assume that we have all the answers, and instead we have to enter situations willing to play around with the possibilities. Toward the end of her presentation, Lisa K. Solomon made the comment that multiple concepts central to Jewish life are consistent with future thinking. That comment stopped me in my tracks. After all, in the class on the Amidah that I recently finished teaching, one of the main Hebrew roots that we looked at was the root zachor, to remember. Judaism is full of remembering. We are commanded to remember Shabbat. We ask God to remember the covenant with our ancestors. We celebrate holidays that remember the miracles of the past. So how was she flipping from remembering to future thinking? She gave us two examples from the holidays. First, the High Holy Days. She put up a slide that says, teshuvah is a future practice. I wrote it down, I starred it on both sides, marked a little Post-it note to look at it later. Teshuvah is a future practice. At first, teshuvah, the act of repentance, appears to be about the past. We are told to reflect on the year that has passed and acknowledge our mistakes. But teshuvah doesn't stop with remembering. It explicitly includes the idea that we refrain from repeating our mistakes when we have the opportunity in the future. Therefore, teshuvah is a future practice because it affirms our hope that we will be better and do better in the future. The second holiday example was Passover. And like teshuvah, Passover presents itself first as a holiday focused on the past rather than the future. We are told, B'chol dor v'ador chayav adam lirot et atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa mimitzrayim. Every generation we are obligated to see ourselves as if we personally came out of Egypt. Through the telling of the Passover story, we place ourselves in the past. We time travel back thousands of years, walking in the footsteps of our ancestors. And yet, Solomon described Passover not just as a remembrance and reflection of freedom, but a living practice in imagining change. When we put ourselves in the footsteps of our ancestors, we are not only freed from slavery in Egypt, but are also transformed into a people with hopes and dreams of a promised land and future. This idea is cemented in the act of welcoming Elijah at the end of the Seder, acknowledging that our redemption is not complete, that there is a brighter future we are working to bring about. So Passover, this holiday where we imagine ourselves way back in time, is actually inviting us to see a more positive future in front of us, just as we hoped that the slaves would do as they came out of Egypt. After participating in this opening session at CCAR, I'm going to say that I'm still not ready to call myself a futurist. But I'm feeling just a bit more confident about facing the future. Because apparently we have all been practicing the necessary skills every year during the High Holy Days and Passover. So in a couple of weeks, when we sit around our Seder tables, when we remember what it was like to leave Egypt, may we also try to imagine what it will be like to enter the future, a future that is less confusing, less tumultuous than today. And may we do so holding on tight to our values, but holding loosely to our ideas, ready to hear the ideas of our fellow travelers. Shabbat Shalom.